I'm always looking for new ways to describe kind of where I've been or how I feel about things. I'm a very emotional person. And while thinking about this for a while, it's really hit me that a good way to describe this is that starting is fun and sticking is awful. And it really leads me to this complex mix of emotions that I've gone through in my life around starting a business and wanting to be successful at some level, but also being very emotional and feeling this deep down feeling like I'm not doing the thing that I'm supposed to be doing. And it's really hard. I think that kind of a feeling comes from in a general amalgamation. I don't want to use that word, but I can't think of another word. Combining all of the forces that are in this modern world, right, into your brain, right, into this system called your brain that then has this effect, right? So with, everything going more short form, right? With video games, with certain substances, right? With whatever it is that you're drawn to, that you emotionally get this kind of dopamine hit from, which is really what it is, right? It makes you feel like you're bored with something, and that boredom, I think, translates in your brain into this isn't for me, because if it was, I would be way more excited about this. But I think this is an illusion and this is a lie, and it's something we have to learn to go against and fight against. I think about it from a music perspective. Sure, there's a lot of bands out there that have kind of changed their style, but for the most part, right? How many bands do you know that are famous in 10 different music genres? They're not. For the most part, bands that are successful choose a style and they go into that style hard and continue to progress album after album in a certain style until forever, right? And I think that is a really good way to view this. I don't think the members of those bands necessarily only like one style of music, right? But you have to choose something and go in a direction in order to gain any momentum in that direction, right? It comes back to this ideas thing, right? So to me, I've always liked saying this: the difference between Jeff Bezos and the millionaire down your street, right, is just the idea. And sure, these ideas can be really good. But both of these guys, to me, are super successful. Anybody who has started their own business or started their own projects and gone out and made millions of dollars from it, to me, the only real difference between those guys ends up being the idea. And there's a bunch of people who've started a bunch of ideas that failed. Like, it doesn't, I know that sounds like I'm saying the idea matters, but what I'm saying is it doesn't. Because who cares? They're both super successful people. So this leads me to this place where it comes to like building a brand and running into walls and realizing that the wall is going to happen and that you have to just keep going with whatever it is. You have to choose one thing, and it doesn't freaking matter what it is. All of the paths lead somewhere, But if you keep walking a few steps on a path and then going back to the start and then down another path, then back to the start, then down another path, because you're so worried about what's at the end of the path, you don't know what's at the end of any of the paths. Stop trying to predict a path you don't know. But you'll never get good at walking down a path if you never are walking down a path. So I think this really comes down to this thing again. Once again, you can't worry. You got to grab something. You have to find a way to cut all the lifeboats, right? And go down a river that you can't turn around and keep going. And when it gets hard, that's the best, because that means there's something down this road that's probably really close where you're going to have some kind of giant insight or benefit. Things always get hard. And I always find there's some great thing that happens for me after I keep going after a hard time or a difficult time sticking with something. So, I don't really have a lot of advice on how to do that. It seems counterintuitive. It seems unnatural to grab something and not look back. One of the best things I ever did was I got a sweatshirt and I put the logo of my business on it and I wore it for 6 months every day. And I was not going to let myself escape that anymore, right? I forced it on me. I forced it to control me, not me to control it. So I think that if you did something for 10 years and it was the wrong thing and you were somewhat successful, and if that's the worry, then all of that knowledge in 10 years, when you decide, okay, I've done this for 10 years, I'm going to switch to something else. Boom. It only takes 5 years to be an insane success, especially if you have the skills and the tools. But if you're not moving down a path, you're going to be gaining the wrong skills or no skills. So I think if you want to be successful and you want to own a business, pick a business, pick it now, pick it on a whim, and don't freaking think about it ever again. Every day, force yourself down that road. And when it gets hard, you keep going and you find a way around it. And when it gets hard again, you keep going and you find your way around it, and you will go. You will make it. And if that idea is something boring like a home service that everybody needs, great. You already know there's a market. Sometimes the really good ideas that we think are really good ideas, there's no market for. That's harder. At least if you go do something like plumbing or HVAC and you don't know how to do it, but you get a contractor and you go start selling it, you're going to get good at sales, you're going to get good at understanding the business, and you're going to start making money, you're going to start getting clients. And guess what? You don't have to worry if people are going to want your thing after 10 years of doing it. So this isn't supposed to be an argument for home services. I know I do a lot of work for home services. I help a lot of people who have the skills or who want to go start these businesses, but it's more an argument for just choosing something and going and starting to develop the skills around the choice there of what you're offering to people, and not whether what you're offering people is going to be 99% good, 96% good, 85% good, but I could find something that's 86% good. It doesn't work. You will never know the outcome of anything you choose, and that's really hard to accept. So how you put your brain away, how you stop the emotion, I get it. The emotions are strong. I'm a super, super emotional person. But I've had to learn to ignore that and sit at my desk or, go out your front door and go do something every day. as the Bruce Lee quote we all hear a million times rings true in my head, though, so much. I don't fear the man who's done 10,000 different kicks. I fear the man who's done the same kick 10,000 times, 100,000 times. So that's my rant, and I will be back tomorrow to talk some more about marketing or business. We'll see ya.